Okay, well, this is different. You know, it's not different than medicine in a way, because without this, I'm going to just give you an example. So let's say Dr. Mencia is your doctor, and he knows all about you, and you know all about what they do, but your kids don't know any of this. They live up north, and, you know, you might have your medical bills, which would give him his name in case you need it. But if you had this book, Organizing Your Family Legacy, A Practical Action Plan for Those You Leave Behind, this, you see, Ed, would have everything about Dr. Mencia in there, everything that he's done for you, all the other things. That's why this is so important. Nobody has things like this in one place.
I agree, Anita. And the purpose of the book is to really leave a legacy to your family. And it's really a book of love to eliminate all the catastrophe that comes when somebody becomes incapacitated or somebody passes away, when the family doesn't know where any of the documents are, any of the planning, what the person's wishes were. This is a book which is a book to be filled out, very easy. It's an action plan. It guides you and educates you and informs you as to what you have to do for the family that you leave behind.
Well, but even before that, I want to go back to that. Let's not leave them behind yet.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about things that you ask for in here. The CPA. You may be living, you may be fine, but your kids don't know where the money is, and maybe you're forgetful. You're sitting with a pile of paperwork. They don't know what's going on, and you're still living. That's what this book is so important, and they should be able to sit down with you and do this together.
Well, when we started to write the book with my co-author, Sharon, we decided to interview, we had about 20 focus groups, excuse me, which went from Miami Beach to Palm Beach. And they were about 6 to 8 people, each group. And we actually wanted to know, what do people know about themselves? What do they want to know? What do they need to know? And, of course, what they don't know. And from that complication of information, we then went to professionals. We went to CPAs. We went to estate planning attorneys, financial attorneys. We went to funeral homes. We went to independent living and assisted living facilities. And we wanted to know what kind of a book would be a benefit to their clientele. And from that information, which answered the information and the questions we received from our focus groups, we went from what we thought would be a 22-page list of enter your insurance information, your banking and financial information, to a 268-page hardcover lay-flat book.
And it's beautiful. I've always, when I first met you and we featured this as a book of the month, we really were very, very impressed with this. And I can see why you're getting this into people's hands, the lawyers, the CPAs, the financial guys, is really so valuable. But I want to keep going back to this other situation. Here, you know that I'm pretty active. I think I know what I'm doing. I'm a businesswoman. And yet, in my file drawers, and I've had this book, and I haven't taken the time to transfer what I have in the file drawers here. Because if something happens to me, or if Bill and I are in a plane, God forbid, something happens, they'd have to go through all the drawers, look at the files, and figure it out. In your marvelous book here, it shows the financial information, the bank accounts. It shows, your insurance policies. It shows so many things that I have forgotten already anyway. If you ask me, well, what insurance do you carry on this or that? I said, I don't know, it's this. I'd have to go into my files. And this is such a marvelous thing. So how do you get me to sit down and take the time to do this?
well, that
you're going to come to my house?
And I've been asked that. My initial target market was to sell to professionals, which would use the book as a thank you for their current clients and to be used as an incentive to get new clients, whether they have seminars or workshops. And that we've been very, very successful. we are now swinging into the consumer mode. And we have been giving discussion talks, lectures, seminars, whatever you'd like to call it, at both country clubs, JCCs, churches, independent living facilities. We've probably given, by word of mouth, about 7 or 8 of them in the last month or two, because when we give one at one facility, there's always somebody in the audience from another facility who asks us if we would talk to their group. And what's happened is that people have now called me with the results of reading the book. One woman called and simply said we had made plans to go on vacation. And I gave them my passport information. But when you gave me the book, and I read in the book that your passport has to be enforceable 6 months from your travel date.
And no one knows that. That's amazing that you would bring that up.
And my passport expired 2 months ago, she tells me. So she thanked me. One other interesting point, well, several others actually. We point out in the book that every 2 years you must get a copy of your beneficiary report from your IRA, your stock brokerage firm. You must get it. And the reason you must get it is, in today's world, number one, they're changing from paper to digital. Number two, companies are being bought out in the insurance and the CPA world. So we gave a talk to a group. Woman called me on the phone, said, Ed, I have to tell you what happened. I said, what happened? She said, I called up my insurance company because my life insurance policy is owned by my estate. And I read your book and realized I have to change many things that I didn't look at in the last 10 years. So I made that change. I called the insurance company and wanted to know what pages would they need me to send them the new plan. They said they'd get back to me, and 2-3 days later, they called me back and said, I'm sorry to say, we don't have a copy of your first plan. And therein lies the purpose of the book. The book is educational, it's informative, and it's a guide to make life easy for the living, as well as for those that become incapacitated and pass away.
I'm so glad you brought that up, Ed. That's exactly what I was going to say to you, that even just reading it, you say, I don't have that. Oh, what about this? Oh, I didn't change this. Oh, the safety deposit box, I don't even know where it is now. The bank changed, and your kids come down. That's exactly what this is. And when I asked you, how do I take the time to fill it out? But I've taken the time, and I think you were the cause of this in a way, that I have a lot of different bank accounts because we have some different businesses. And I have them I wasn't even having them in files so much as I have certain things in my drawer where I keep certain things. And now I have files. I did make files on my, this bank account, that bank account, where it is, because even Bill, where I do all this, he'll say, well, how much is here? What's there? I just go right in my file now and I can pull it out. But after reading your book, I realized a lot of things that I needed to do, which I haven't done now. We used Joe Karp, who's the elder law attorney that we've been with for many years, and he asked me some questions, and so we just went back and we had a review. And it's interesting because I showed him your book. Now he puts out something when you first go to him, and it's I would say 1/10 of what you have here. It's a good shot at something. So a lot of lawyers don't even do that. But there's no comparison in this. I mean, this is really a history of everything.
Well, an interesting story came from an accounting firm which we sold books to. And by the way, we private label these books for the professionals. We put their name on it so that when they give it away,
Lovely.
It's a book from them. But again, a story, an accountant called me and said, I wish I had your book years and years ago. I asked why. He said, we act as the executor of many of our clients. And a brother and sister came several weeks ago with a box of their father's stuff and asked me to start the process of review.
Right.
So in looking at it, there was something missing. And I didn't know what it was, but, he's been my client for 40 years, so there was something missing. So I asked the kids if I could kind of rummage through his office with them there, of course, and they agreed. And several days later, we went to his office, and I was looking like an investigator, like a CSI guy, Is it taped to the bottom of the drawer? Is it taped to the back of the mirror? Is there a safe that they missed, perhaps? And in rummaging through the desks, I opened the drawer, and then very nicely standing up tall were the file that hang in every desk drawer. But in one of the drawers, there was a manila folder lying flat on the bottom of the drawer. So I pulled the files back. I took out the folder, and in the folder was about $500,000 worth of stock certificates from 20, 30 years ago when stock certificates were given out. Now, I know my client, had he had this book, those stock certificates would have been entered in the investment section, and all of this would have been avoided. Otherwise, some charity could have become very, very wealthy, because that's where this furniture was going.
What a wonderful
unless we
story.
found it.
Well, no, I knew them the very minute I met you a year or so ago, and this was perfect. But I'm just turning to this, and I didn't remember the identity theft. That's kind of a new thing. Now, that's not something people usually thought. They always thought that, well, someone's going to find out my bank accounts, but they never thought that people can come in and do everything.
Well, the problem we found in our focus groups is that people don't know what to do when identity theft hits them. But more importantly, people don't take the time and the effort to avoid identity theft in the first place. So in our book, there's a section on what to do to avoid identity theft, and then another section, what to do when you've been compromised with identity theft.
How do you know that you've had identity theft? Did someone tell you?
Well, if you, to know that you've had it, you could check your balances and see on places where money has been spent that you have no knowledge. I check my...
Oh, so you call that identity theft. I'm sorry, I'm thinking in big terms about something bigger than that. Is that what identity...
Well, I'll tell you what's big. When I was hacked 12, 15 years ago, my account was... My name and address was given to a fraudster by Experian. Somebody called up Experian, said he was with me. He was me. And this was like 15, 18 years ago. So all that's been corrected. Experian just gave this fraudster my information.
No kidding.
They were in Georgia, this a scam group. So I contacted the people that would help me with my identity theft, which happens to be the Secret Service. People don't know that the Secret Service that guards the President of the United States and all our dignitaries is in charge of credit card and identity theft fraud. So I call them up and tell them about my problem, and I've been identified, and they're taking money from me here and there. And he tells me about an experience that he's currently having where some crook went in to buy a car. Let's say it was a Lexus. He went in, he gave his banking information, which was somebody else's banking information. And he had a fraudulent license, which had the fraudulent name on it. So the automobile company, Lexus, leased this guy a car. And sign and drive, you sign the lease, and away you drive. And they did it to this guy whose identity they stolen twice. So he had like $120,000 worth of cars that he didn't have anything to do with, and the onus was on him to prove that he didn't buy the cars.
This is
and
amazing.
Then the inspector, the Secret Service guy, said, and you want me to worry about your little $50, $100 scam that's going on? So identity theft is rampant in this country.
You know, it's interesting that you just now helped me with something you always do every time I see you. I don't go online every day to look at our bank accounts. I don't, you know, and I do usually maybe a couple of weeks and I look, but you're saying then I should go every day and look at people maybe taking money at debits that weren't mine.
Well, there are companies.
Do you do that every day?
No, but there are companies that you can subscribe to online that reviews excess purchasing on your accounts, and then you would be notified if some big purchase was made that was beyond the budget that you had set up. And I personally have that account, and every now and then I would get a notice, or since I live in Florida, and I would go to New York and buy perhaps, I don't know, several $100s worth of tickets to a show in New York, I would get a email from this company. Are you the Ed Meyers that brought these tickets in New York? Of course, you live in Florida.
Yeah, I see.
So they do a great job.
I think you have just done such an extraordinary thing, and I want people to know how they can get your book. It's really important. So they could actually go to your website, which is maybe the best way, and wouldn't that be apepress.com?
Well, organizingyourfamilylegacy.com would take you to the site, explain the products that we offer, and, of course, the book is the prime seller, but we also have a legacy organizer, because we felt that once somebody gathers all their documents that they have to enter into this book, and by the way, it's not a one-seat deal.
I know.
This book takes maybe 3 months, 4 months to complete. But once they get all their documents on the table, I didn't want them to put it back where they got it from, which would be in multiple spots throughout the apartment or the home. So by using this legacy organizer, which is a 20-slot a carrying case.
I know. I have that. I mean, you were very kind, and that's amazing. I forgot that. That's amazing.
That way you put all your stuff, and the file tabs in the case match the book. Yep. So if you're going to investments or you're going to banks or any other area, you don't have to think much about it. Just put it in that same category. And we also produce, I always thought it was for the younger set, a digital flash drive of the book, which is in a writable PDF. And what you do is just put this flash drive into your computer. Up pops the book. You complete the book as much as you want, or as little as you want. Save it. And when you withdraw the file from the computer, there's nothing that stays in the computer to be hacked. It's all in this little file. And then if you want to do more several days later, you put it back into the computer and complete it a little bit more.
And then, of course, you can send it to your family members so that they have it. That was your other.
And what we do is we watermark each digital file with the person's name and their birthday for security reasons, so that when somebody receives this, they know who it belongs to just by opening it up.
You know, people are listening to you, Ed, and they're wondering, how does this guy get so smart? What are you a lawyer? Are you a CPA? Who are you? Why don't you tell them a little bit the time we have about your background, because it's very interesting.
Well, the wonderful part about who I am is a real topic of discussion at all the lectures that we give, because I'm like them. I am not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. I'm just a guy who's grown up with all of these circumstances. And when my wife passed away from ovarian cancer years ago and sat in this hospital watching her wither away, not for one moment did I ever think she would pass away. Now, I'm an organized guy, and I never thought she would pass away. But my daughter Wendy, and my daughter-in-law, who's like my daughter Susan, they were out making funeral arrangements and cemetery arrangements and who was going to come and who should come and where they're coming from. They did this all without me knowing about it, because I didn't do it. Now, I've run many, many businesses in my career, ran them like a clock. But when it comes to my own person, I never made funeral arrangements when I knew my wife would be gone within a very, very, very short period of time. So I said to myself, how can a parent put their children through this exercise of choosing a coffin and making those arrangements? So I set out to do something about it, and it took a number of years to put this together, as I said, with the focus groups and interviewing attorneys and accountants and all kinds of people to learn and gain the expertise which I now give in this book and give in these lectures. And if there's anything I don't know, I ask them for their name and their phone number or email. I seek out the answer to that question, and they will get an answer from me. And after every meeting, I ask, if there's anything that you find that I've missed, please get in touch with me.
You know that you're a missionary. You know that now.
Yes.
No, you are. You're a missionary. And, it's funny. When people say they're getting older and they don't want to retire and what should they do, and I said, find out what passion you have and follow your passion road, because this is what's keeping you young and vibrant. You have a partner who wrote this with you,
yes.
Sharon, Nick.
Yes.
And I hope Sharon's doing well.
Yes, she's got the flu.
Oh, see, she should have had a flu shot.
She had the flu shot.
Oh, so it won't be as worse, but it won't be as bad.
Right.
With it.
Hopefully.
Well, that's good. Poor thing. She's getting all these things, but she certainly, you together, put this wonderful book in place. And I really suggest people just go online and you'll get to see it, and then you can decide. It's not very expensive.
No, it's not very expensive. And if you go online, we offer a discount code, which is OFYL20. Enter OFYL20, and you'll get a 20% discount right on the line.
Okay, but you need to go to their website, which is apepress.com, or if you want to purchase a copy. I mean, if you want to go to apepress.com, you'll see Ed and everything else. But,
yeah, that's my publishing company.
But to purchase a copy, it's Organizing Your Family Legacy. Then you will go to apepress.com, and we're going to have you on YouTube. And you are on YouTube already. I know we did that once.
Yes.
But we're going to hopefully have this again so that your show will be on there. I hope you have that on your website.
Yes.
Good, because it's
website.
very important. Well, I certainly wish you so much luck, and you have actually encouraged me again. I mean, I was being a little selfish about having you on, because I do need to do this. I have it in too many other places. That's the problem. And if I had it here, it would be easier for Bill now to be able to look at it. When he asks me questions every week or two, I'll say, okay, Bill, this is what we're doing. This is where it is. But I could just hand him the book and put little tabs on it and just say, okay, Bill, this is what you need to look at. It's interesting. We'll end it with this conversation. He sold his insurance policy many years ago. It was a very, very big number. And of course, when people invest in these insurance policies, they look at your age, they look at what happened, new knees, hips, and so they've been waiting for him to die. And every 6 months, we get a call. How's Mr. Finley doing? Yeah. And what they don't know is I'm making him live to be 100. So those investors made a bad choice with Bill.
Good deal.
But that's cute, because I think anybody, other than mentioning this on the radio now, anyone even knows about it. And my kids, I don't think our children know, but I've got to get it into the insurance information here, that there is a policy like that, which, we sold and all, but that this company's going to keep calling to find out if he's still around.
You bring an interesting point, and that is that fewer than 25% know anything about their family's stuff, and conversely, their parents know nothing about their stuff.
Oh, that's even more
stuff.
True than the other way. That's true. I don't know anything about my son.
And, stuff happens.
That's right.
Stuff happens.
And it's interesting because we have 2 minutes, because our kids live down, we have two sons, but one son's a lawyer and his wife's a lawyer, and they're in Miami. They have the triplets, it's like, we never really get a chance to do this. And I said to Bill, my goodness, would you imagine, they're so busy now they can hardly take a breath. If something happened to us, they'd have to come into my office and figure it out.
With a truck.
But I'm going to definitely start working on this. I love what you did. I told you that from the very day I met you. Organizing your family legacy. It's a practical action plan for those that are here now, and then what you leave behind. You have to add a little thing.
It's truly a gift of. It's a gift of love.
It really is. It really is.
It's a gift of love.
Yeah. Well, you're wonderful, Ed, and I'm so glad that you came. I know you came to the expo, which was really a big success, and we're glad to see you there. And we certainly will keep trying to give this to people, for them to go and do this so they'll be a better person. Anyway, thanks for coming.
My pleasure, as usual, Anita.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone, for listening. Remember to listen every Saturday from 5 to 8 a.m., and on Sundays, we have it on WNN, which is 1470 a.m. on your dial, and that's 7 to 7:30 in the morning, and then the afternoon, 4:30 to 5. So we'll be here next week if everything works out well. Bye.